So this is Highway 1. I drove part of this last year, and then there was a sign. It said road closed, you can't go through to Ely. So I turned around. So I probably have this on my dash cam for last year, but I only drove maybe 5 or 10 miles and then I turned around. I have no idea, you know, I mean, it might be like the Gunflint Trail. That's what I'm guessing. But Mike talks about Ely. He used to go up to Ely when he was a kid. He used to hitchhike up here. And he had a lot of fun. He did it with his parents' permission. But he would, he's made his way up here. He had a way to, I think he hitchhiked at one time, part of the way. And he stayed with Japanese people in Duluth. So there's a Japanese, that's why they have that Japanese gardens. There's Japanese people up there. Not sure why they would be Japanese people in Duluth, but he stayed with Japanese people one time. This was when he was a kid. So that's a long time ago. And he worked his way up to Ely by kind of hitchhiking. And he used to really have a lot of fun. He had relatives up there. And they used to go boating. He likes the water. He likes going out in the boat, the canoe. He likes to camp. And he's much more rustic than I am. He'll go out. He used to camp in the winter, and I mean, he came up to Ely in the summer, but he used to camp in some pretty harsh conditions. He'd camp when it's December. This is when he was young, and he liked doing that. And it seemed like he did maybe what this one guy I saw in the grocery. He might have been doing that, where he was just kind of going from one area to another, and maybe hitchhiking, and then he'd camp, just find somewhere to camp wherever he could find. And that's what this guy was doing that I talked to this morning. Just find somewhere to camp, and he had a big backpack, probably had a tent in there, and he'd just find somewhere to camp for the night when night came. Wherever he happened to be, he just looked for a place to camp that was out of the way. And that's what he did. That's what Mike did, and that's what this guy did that I talked to. So the guy I talked to might have been a modern version of Mike. They love it up here, and they might not even own a car. Maybe he was on a motorcycle. I didn't talk to him real long. But they don't have a van that they can camp in. I mean, how many vans are there on the road? To me, that is the best way to travel, is a van. I mean, a camper would be a little more deluxe, but you gotta pay for that. It costs a lot of money. I don't go on enough trips a year to do that, to make that, you know, a good idea. I mean, my brother's got like a really nice setup, but to buy something like that just for 1 or 2 trips a year, that's not worth it. You might as well just get a motel if you need it, you know. And that's what I do if I have to. But I got a van. I've saved a lot of money by sleeping in here. Got a full tank of gas. But he used to talk about, there was his relative had a cabin on the lake up there near Ely, and he really had some good times up there. And he always managed to get up there. I think he might have went up there maybe every year if he could, and he'd go boating, go canoeing up in the boundary waters, and he roughed it. I mean, I don't do anything like what he's doing. He had a tent. He camped up there out in the wilderness, and he went boating, and they had people to go with him up there. I think he went with someone, his relative or whatever, but he could go up there and stay whenever he wanted, and he had a cabin. They had a cabin, but I think he did a lot of tent camping too. I think he went places on those boats and he camped when he'd just pull into an island, maybe camp. He was a pretty rustic. I mean, he'd go into in the middle of the winter and he'd just find a spot and camp. Almost like these guys on this television show I watch, except for he had a tent. And he'd have a backpack, and he even did it on a bike. He had a motorcycle at one point in his life too. He'd stealth camp, and that's what this guy was doing at the grocery store. He was stealth camping, and that's what Mike did. And you can have a lot of fun doing that. I mean, I do that sort of, but I'm not really stealth camping. I mean, I try to be kind of discreet though. But most places I stay I actually ask, and I, get permission. And the thing is, you get permission, but you still want to kind of keep a low profile because they might have given you permission, but they might have given just you. I don't really know if I'm 100% of the state law, but the tribe up there let me do it. And they might have let me do it because they just wanted to give me a break. Just like that girl gave me a break on the room the other night. So you still kind of lay low, you don't make it obvious you're camping. Last night, you don't want everybody to know that you're camping. So it's semi-stealth, but it's legal. I mean, what these other people are doing, they're truly stealth camping. They're going in places that maybe would be questionable, but they're not hurting anything. Up after they're done. Mike told me one time someone that was running the park or something, and he had to kind of try to keep from being found out because what he was doing, they would not have approved of it. He would just find a little spot in the park and he'd hide out, camp there. And this was like all times of the year. I mean, it might even be when there's snow on the ground. And it's kind of fun to do that, I think. I mean, I don't do it, but I think it would be kind of fun to do that. You're saving money. And you're a kid, you don't have any money. I don't know if he ever slept in a van. He probably did. But he had a lot of fun doing that. I think a lot of it he did alone. But when he came up here, there was family, and he probably, at least some of the time, he had somebody to go with, and there was someone up there that owned stuff. But he told me a lot of stories about that. He really enjoyed Ely. He liked Ely the way I like coming up here. I don't have a great desire to go to Yellowstone or anywhere else. I kind of like the familiarity of this area.